Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. This week we complete our tour of the Paris Motor Show floor in the second of two special episodes.
We've got some of the most exciting upcoming performance cars.
Plus, we crown our car of the show.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
As part of an investigation into lender support of struggling customers, Volkswagen Financial Services has been fined £5.4 million by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority. A report by the FCA found that between 2017 and 2023, Volkswagen Group's department responsible for finance deals such as loans, leasing and hire purchase neglected the needs of vulnerable customers and failed to provide the adequate support. The statement goes on to read that many people relying on their car for travel to work were put in a worse position after struggling to keep up with payments and having their cars taken away, something the company should have avoided via better support and communication. VWFS has said that in recent years it has worked to improve its procedures and level of support. In addition, the manufacturer has announced that it will be paying out over £21.5 million to the 110,000 customers who may have suffered harm. The group itself will contact those eligible for compensation, and customers needn't take action for the process to begin.
Once sitting among a long list of international get-togethers, the Paris Motor Show is now a rare breed, especially here in Europe. As such, this year's edition is packed full of new cars and young manufacturers hoping to break their way onto the market. So even after spending last week going from stand to stand, we still have plenty to see.
And we kick off this week's hike from the Volkswagen stand with a rather exciting look into the future. This is the Volkswagen ID GTI concept, a vision of the sporty people's car in electric form. But unlike most models currently forming the all-electric ID range, this futuristic hot hatch sports compact dimensions and a stubby stance, kind of like the original GTI. The ID GTI was originally unveiled at last year's German Motor Show, where a production version based on the manufacturer's MEB platform was given a 2027 launch date. But it isn't all eye candy and hope for the future on show on the Volkswagen stand, as there is a new 7-seat SUV available from the German manufacturer.
Replacing the Tiguan Allspace and sitting between the Tiguan and Touareg, this is the Volkswagen Tayron, sporting soft looks very much inspired by the recently facelifted Passat. The new SUV comes with a choice of three powertrains, though just the entry-level 1.5 ETSI pumping out the 150 brake horsepower is available as a 7-seater. Both the 204 and 272 bhpe hybrid models require large battery space under the floor for plug-in hybrid technology, and as such do not have room for that vital third row. Though quite frankly, with legroom lacking for both the second and third rows in this latest SUV, it does feel like the Tayron is trying to fill a gap in the market that simply needn't be filled. For a comfortable 3-seat experience, the Touareg is the manufacturer's go-to, whilst the Tiguan offers little less than this new Tayron for far cheaper. Whilst pricing is yet to be confirmed, we predict the Tayron to hit the UK market at around £48,000, almost 15 more than the regular 5-seat family SUV.
Last week, we took a look at the numerous Chinese manufacturers hoping to claim their stake in the market via the Paris Motor Show. But one car maker from the East we overlooked was Leapmotor. Announcing here at the show that automotive giant Stellantis has acquired a 21% share in the company, this is a name we're sure to hear more about in the future. Indeed, it seems like Dacia for the Renault Group, Leapmotor is to become Stellantis' budget car maker. And reinforcing that fact is one model in what is a two-pronged assault on the Western market, the T03, a rival to the Dacia Spring, a car we very much enjoy. Visually, we can't decide. Is the T03 a charming little model, or more of a toy car in disguise that should worry us out on the open road? Either way, it's a compact little electric tin can on four wheels, offering just enough space for your daily commute and weekly shop. On paper then, it's yet another fantastic city car. Though it certainly doesn't get the stylistic brawn of its closest rival. Inside, the newest sub-£20,000 electric EconoBox gets a surprising amount of luxuries. 4 seats and a steering wheel is about all you can expect at this price point, and yet, pleasing interior upholstery, a nice cabin layout, and plenty of tech is an impressive specification sheet. Indeed, even those in the rear get electric windows, while an app allows control of aircon, door locks and battery preheating from your phone. While the T03 itself is all well and good, it's Leapmotor's association with the Stellantis group that will help in its quest of rivaling the Dacia Spring via the giant's network of dealers here in the UK, something other Chinese manufacturers can't boast. But how does the Dacia fare?
Well, luckily enough, the Romanian manufacturer is also present here in Paris and has this cute stunner available for a back-to-back comparison. Outside, the Spring looks far more rugged than its newfound challenger, and that strong persona it also felt inside. Sure, materials are not quite as nice as the Leapmotor's cabin, but everything feels just a bit less flimsy. The drive selector's clunk in particular is enough to buy our confidence in the model's sturdiness. As well as lacking in the fit and finish department, tech isn't quite at the same level as China's offering, with entry-level specifications omitting infotainment screens, instead providing users with a built-in phone holder, though this particular higher-end edition does get a 10-inch display. Under the floor in Dacia's Spring sits a small 26.8 kilowatt-hour battery with enough juice for 140 miles on a charge, slightly less than the Leapmotor's 37.3 kilowatt-hours and 165 miles of range. So if all you need is a small city car for A to B journeys around town, the £15,000 Dacia Spring is a good option. But for the tech-savvy and range anxiety susceptible, the new Chinese offering is available from £16,000, with many features included as standard. Orders for the Leapmotor T03 open towards the end of November, with deliveries beginning before the year is out.
Lying in the heart of one of Europe's most historical cities, the Paris Motor Show is certainly full of the latest additions to the car market. But that doesn't mean we cannot appreciate a bit of history every now and then. Indeed, France is home to many of the world's most celebrated sports car manufacturers, and surely few are more recognisable than Matra. Those fanatical about the brand will know of the museum dedicated to its greatest creations in northern France, and to our joy, a few of those greatest models have made their way to the dedicated stand here in Paris. Three-seat sports cars like the Morena and the old-school Le Mans racing prototypes like this MS650, without forgetting France's response to the Land Rover Discovery, the Ranchero, are all among the car maker's most famous models. But one car everyone will recognise is the Renault Espace F1, a people carrier hiding a powerful secret in the form of a 3.5-litre, 820 brake horsepower V10 engine straight out of Williams' 1993 Formula One car. This monstrous creation, adding an aero-optimised body kit and dropping the Espace's 7 seats, was first unveiled 30 years ago right here in Paris for the 1994 Motor Show. But it isn't the only wacky French creation on show. This is the latest iteration of vintage racing outfit Delage. Essentially a single-seater race car with just enough bodywork for road-legal use. What you're looking at here is the D12. Lurking under the minimal engine cover is a 7.6-litre V12 engine producing over 1,000 brake horsepower in a model weighing just 1,400 kilos. Now that is a power-to-weight ratio that we can get behind. Back in its day, the Delage name battled the mighty Bugattis on the world's best racetracks, and now with this £1.7 million hypercar, the long-lost manufacturer is hoping to continue that duel.
After the break, the Renault Group has lots to show off.
Welcome back. Coming up, our car of the show may not be what you expect.
Earlier on, we compared a new Chinese arrival onto the UK market against one of our favourite cars of the last year, the Dacia Spring. But the little electric city car isn't the main reason for Dacia's display here in Paris this year, as cute as it may be. Instead, the Romanian carmaker is here to show off its latest creation, the Bigster. As strange as the name may be, it does actually have some reason behind it, essentially presenting as a larger version of the Duster. And thanks to its recognisable sharp styling and elongated rear overhang, you can quite easily spot the likeness. Unsurprisingly, the cabin is also very much a big Duster, with an overall layout mimicking the smaller car that received a facelift earlier this year. But headroom, legroom and overall comfort increases dramatically for both rows of seats, whilst boot space is near segment leading. Just like the Duster, everything in here feels solid and rugged, but unlike the Duster, standard tech includes a 10.1-inch infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, whilst the 7-inch instrument cluster grows to 10 on higher trim levels. Power in the Bigster comes from a choice of 3 powertrains, ranging from a TCE 140 that we would not recommend to a hyper-efficient hybrid 155, pairing a 107 brake horsepower 4-pot with a 50 brake electric motor. A unit capable of EV only running for 80% of city use, it is the model to go for if fuel mileage is your biggest concern. For more rugged use and a bit of light off-roading, the TCE 130's all-wheel drive layout places it above the similarly powerful entry model, both sharing a 1.2-litre 3-cylinder. The Bigster is set to hit dealership forecourts at some point during 2025 and will cost less than £30,000, an impressive figure if Dacia can pull it off.
Rugged, versatile and affordable, there's no denying the Dacia Bigster will be a popular model in 2025. But that is not all the Renault Group has to offer here in Paris, as the main brand clearly has a taste for retro design this coming year. The original Renault Twingo may never have made its way to UK shores, but with a funky and spacious design compiling cutesy yet practical features, it was a game changer here in Europe. And now this concept car shows what a retro EV city car would look like with frog-like design inspiration. Whilst unconfirmed for the UK market, rumours do suggest this retro Twingo concept is well on its way to becoming a fully fledged production model by the year 2027. But the Twingo won't be alone in its range of electric vehicles sporting retro styling under the Renault umbrella, as the lineup is already 2 models strong with the Renault 5 and Renault 4.
Originally launched as a concept celebrating 50 years since the original Renault 5, the 1970s shape is now making its resurgence in 2024 as a production-ready model. With an overall shape in accordance with the original design and plenty of recognisable details adapted for the modern age, it's a car hoping to draw the more traditional enthusiast towards EV tech, albeit with a collection of gimmicks. Inside, you find a blend of fabric seating and quirky details like this soft dashboard top. Overall, the cabin is very well thought out, with plenty of cubbies for storage and a nice chunky dual display, pairing 2 10-inch screens, or dropping to a 7-inch driver display in lower trim levels. With Google's Android automotive system powering the displays, response is smooth and menus are simple to navigate. Elsewhere, everything inside the cabin feels really nice to the touch and sturdy. If the 5's compact hatchback dimensions aren't quite enough for your requirements, there is always its larger crossover cousin. Think of the all-new and equally all-electric Renault 4 as the 5's estate variant, especially inside. Indeed, the newly unveiled car gets the same overall cabin design, but with slightly greater rear legroom and a larger 420-litre boot, some 100 more than the 5. Though, step outside and you'll find yourself transported back to a dystopian version of the 1960s. With a slightly taller stance than the 5 and the addition of plastic bumper bolstering, the Renault 4 reflects the original model's sturdy, outdoorsy persona. Just don't expect to complete any Quattrel Trophy rally events aboard the new EV sharing the same underpinnings as its Renault 5 cousin. The 2 newest retro Renault EVs get either a 40 or 52 kilowatt-hour battery, good for 190 or 250 miles of range respectively. The 2 variants get either 121 or 150 brake horsepower, with modest performance stats. Both models are set to arrive on UK soil in 2025, with the Renault 5 set to cost £23,000, placing it at a competitive price point versus the likes of the Peugeot E208 and Fiat 500e. Meanwhile, the French manufacturer is yet to announce a starting point for the larger 4, but we'd expect a circa £30,000 price point. A model we have looked forward to for a long time throughout its redevelopment, the Renault 5 does not disappoint in the metal. If you can get past the gimmicks of retro styling and this wicker baguette holder, it's certainly among the most pleasant electric city cars on the market, and definitely our car of this year's Paris Motor Show.
Previously at this year's Paris Motor Show, we checked out the future of Alpine in the form of a hydrogen combustion prototype and all-electric luxury saloon. But the beginning of one chapter means the end of another, and in this case, the move to cleaner energies means the French manufacturer is saying goodbye to the A110, the car that kicked off this modern resurgence. As part of a fond farewell, The Renault sub-brand has made this the A110R Ultimate. Essentially the range-topping R with some extra carbon fibre decoration and aerodynamic devices, it's as close as you will ever get to a full race-spec Alpine on the road. Output from the standard car gets a boost to 345 brake horsepower, allowing for a 3.8-second 0-62 time. Originally a small and honest lightweight sports car throwing back to a simple classic racer, the A110 in its modern form has grown to almost ungainly proportions, and we feel has somewhat lost its way in amongst the arms race that is the search for ultimate performance figures. And this Ultimate with complicated aero and hyper-expensive price point is just a symbol of the A110's stray from its path. In fact, this swan song of a car will only be available in 110 examples and will cost over £250,000. We'll just let that sink in.
Sadly, that is all we have from this year's Paris Motor Show and all we have time for today. Make sure you join us next time when normal service resumes with a far from normal car.